Welcome to Living the Bucket List, where you'll get to meet some extraordinary people with a vision for a crafted life, which I hope inspires you to go after what matters to you. Get out there and live your bucket list. So welcome to Living the Bucket List. Today I've got an interview with a very interesting individual that I met while travelling through Fiji. I had the pleasure of his company for about 5 days over there. And I was really surprised to discover just how much Jack Gould has been able to achieve in such a short time frame. Now, Jack, did you make the call, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Fantastic, mate. How you doing over there?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I ran out of time, so I'm in my girlfriend's car, so we're travelling at the same time.
Oh, okay. So whereabouts are you at the moment?
I'm driving down the highway towards Coomera in the Gold Coast.
Nice. So what are you on your way to at the moment?
So we're just going to her house where she moved today, so we're helping her assemble a bed.
Wow, I tell you what, the mountains you got to climb, hey? Cool. So the winner of the Property Games 2016, some very, very stiff competition in there, no doubt. Tell our listeners about what you're currently doing.
I did win the Property Games. That was really cool. So at the moment, I've got a lot going on. So we're building, property-wise, we're building 2 rooming houses. I got another 2 contracts on other properties where we're going to be building 3 townhouses on one, and we're either going to build 4 townhouses on the other one or just retain the house and build a big house out behind it. So we've got those 2 deals going on, but we're aiming to buy another 2 deals this week, and we've got them in our sights, and it's all about getting our offers accepted.
Fantastic. Another 2 deals this week. Most people don't even get 2 deals in their lifetime, and you're pitching for another 2 this week. Wow.
Well, it's easier now that I know what to look for.
Where did all of this begin for you? I mean, 24 years old, this is quite a distance from where you were a few years ago, going by what you told me. Tell our listeners about your journey.
So basically it all started when I was young. I've always sort of been an entrepreneur in the way that my parents never really had money, so I just figured out a way to get money. So I started off selling rabbits. Also sold some other animals, and we used to clean up the golf courses dams with the old golf balls, and we used to sell them as well. And so I figured out early that I could really do whatever I wanted if I put my mind to it. And then I went through school, and then that sort of got crushed out of me until I came across Dimpner, and Dimpner reignited that flame of being able to do whatever you want. And I've just been doing it ever since the age of 19. I signed up for Dimpner's course and just been flat out ever since.
For those of the audience who are listening that don't know who Dimpner is, can you explain a bit about who Dimpner is?
Yeah, okay. So Dimpner Boholt's a property education woman. I think I'm not sure if she'd be impressed about that title. However, she runs seminars teaching you how to invest in property. And so basically teaching you all the key fundamentals when it comes down to like the actual strategies, but also asset protection, keeping them tax, all that sort of stuff as well. So she teaches you how to invest in property.
Beautiful. And look, I suppose it's a minefield potentially for people who go into it blindfolded, and no doubt with the expertise of Dimpner and the other educators that you're around, you've been able to navigate that minefield more effectively. So where do you draw your inspiration from to be involved in what you're doing?
My inspiration really comes down to it's not about property. It's not about like building houses or anything like that. It's more about setting out goals and achieving them, and also being able to do whatever I want. See, I don't have to work anymore, which is really cool. And it's more about the freedom that it gives me, and I guess I get significance from accomplishing goals out of it. So my main motivation is just proving to myself that I can do it, I guess.
So what sort of challenges and barriers have you faced in the process, and how did you overcome them?
There's been heaps of challenges and barriers the whole time. So basically, everyone said that I was crazy when I started out on this journey, and yeah, I think it's just more about having an attitude of I'm going to make this happen no matter what, and then figuring out how to make it happen. All of my deals and stuff have sort of morphed out to be good deals by accident, really. Like I buy these deals with one thing in mind, and then I end up doing something completely different. And it's more in the attitude of how can I make this work? How can I survive with no money whilst I get the next one? And yeah, just really sort of asking those questions about how can I make it work, and then just doing it.
It's a different psychology when you ask how can I achieve it rather than I can't. With that in mind, what have you seen with the people around you that you're associating with now compared to where you were previously?
I think I've got a little bit of now got a little bit of runs on the board, and it's they have noticed that I haven't quit. They're happy for me, except for they're still not interested, which I was very surprised about. I thought everyone would jump on board the wagon, but they didn't. They're happy for me though now, and they're not telling me I'm crazy. They just think that I'm special.
Special. That's great. Look, I think I've been told that if you're not being told that you're crazy, then you're just not doing it right, because dogs don't bark at parked cars. So let us in on a little bit about you. So if you could invite 4 people to dinner, dead or alive, from any time in history, who would they be and why?
I was thinking about that question, and so with this at the moment, I'd just go my granddad, because he died about 4 or 5 years ago. So he was around when I started, but he's not around now. And then just my girlfriend and my parents. I'm not really too keen on like inviting someone who's like famous or anything like that. I'd just rather hang around with people who are important to me.
Yeah, fair call. Look, family's important, and those around you. Yeah, it's great that they've got that place in your heart and in your life. So,
yeah.
Speaking of your life, if you could revisit one time or one place in your life, when or where would that be and why?
If I could revisit any time in my life, that's a hard one. I don't know. I'm pretty happy with now. I'd rather just stay where I am.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. So what are your 5 top bucket list items?
I really want to go 300 kilometers an hour on a road bike. I want to go diving with great white sharks. I want to drive multiple cars really fast down the Autobahn in Germany. And there's also a crocodile I want to dive with in Darwin. And yeah, I want a 1,000 horsepower car. I'm not sure if that's a bucket list item, but I just want one. I think that's 5.
That is, even at 1,000 horsepower, that's 5. So when you're saying diving with crocs in Darwin, do you mean up at with the croc tank that they've got in town and lower you into the tanks with the crocs, or you talk about swimming freestyle in the river with the crocs?
I'm talking about in the tank. There's no way I would freestyle swim with crocodiles. That's crazy.
It's quite an experience. I had the pleasure of doing that a couple of years ago up in Darwin, and yeah, it's something else. They can get a little bit feisty even in the tanks there. So
yeah, I've seen they try to bite through it the whole time.
Yeah, for sure, they get aggressive. It was quite interesting when I was there. I asked the guy who was lowering us into the tank. I said, "Oh, look, if we came back and we had some like mince meat or something with us, would you still let us in the tank to sort of like try and gee the croc on a little bit?" He's, yeah, go for
it. So I should take mince meat. That'd be awesome.
It's a little bit different in Darwin. They're a bit more relaxed than everywhere else in the world, I suppose. Yeah. So when you look back in the future, what is it that you want to see for those whose lives you've touched?
Basically, I like the fact that I'm proving that you can do whatever you want, no matter what anyone says. Like I've even had trouble with mentors telling me that I can't do what I want, and then I've still gone around and done it. So if I could inspire more people to go out and follow their dreams and do what they want, I think there'd be a lot more happy people around.
Yeah, that's great. So, how is it that you're choosing to do that? What sort of what approach are you applying to get that out there for people?
Well, I wrote a book, and I keep procrastinating the finish of it. It's been edited, and I'm doing the final edit now, so that should be pretty good. Because I had a lot of dark times in my past, it's about how I overcome that, and then got to almost where I am because I finished it last year. So I'm going to release that, and I've got a few ideas of doing speeches and stuff at schools, going in and telling the kids that they can do whatever they want and they don't have to go down the normal everyday path. Um, and we've got a few which have been lined up in the past. However, they've fallen through, and I just sort of need to stop procrastinating and getting out and doing it.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Procrastination can be the killer of a lot of things. So, you mentioned a couple of dark times in your past. Would you like to share some of that with us?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I wanted to do my own thing through this life, and then it sort of got crushed out of me during school. They told me that I can't be a professional skateboarder and all sorts of stuff like that. So I rebelled, and at the age of 13, I started doing drugs, and I was addicted to drugs for about 8 years, and I was also drinking every day. So I was an alcoholic and a drug addict for about 8 years, which is a third of my life. So yeah, they were my dark times. A lot of stuff happened in those times. I overdosed a few times, and um, yeah, it was like homeless at some points and stuff like that. So that's pretty much a good wrap up of my dark times.
And how did you transition from those dark times to where you are now? Where did the change all start for you?
It was as soon as I went to a Dimpner Bohold event, and she told me that I can do whatever I want, instead of the rest of the world who was telling me that I can't do whatever I want.
Wow, that's impactful. I don't know if she really understood the power of the message that she was sharing at the time. So, what childhood experience stands out to you the most, and how do you think it served you as an adult today?
I don't know. I've got so much of them. I think it might have been when we were selling rabbits and working extremely hard for our money. That's the whole entrepreneurial start of selling rabbits for $5 as a 10-year-old and having like $50 in your wallet really sort of taught me that even though my parents didn't have enough money to buy me what I want, I could go make that money myself and buy it. So I don't know, maybe that's the thing which stands out the most.
Learning to be independent very early on, self-sufficiency, that's you're definitely ahead of the curve with that, that's for sure, buddy. So if you could go back in time, and okay, I know you're 24, but if you could go back in time and give a 20-year-old version of yourself a key lesson, what would it be?
If I could go back and talk to the 20-year-old version of myself, I just tell them that to keep going and persist, and everyone who's around you is telling you that you can't do this is wrong. Because when I was 20, that was when I just started out, and everyone thought I was crazy.
With everything that you've done, there's been massive amounts of study. I've seen the boot camps and the course material that there is to go through. Do you enjoy reading?
I do now.
Do Fantastic. So, what book have you read that you find that you're consistently recommending to others?
I recommend every book I read. Generally, it's generally the last one which I recommend. And at the moment, I really love The Secret.
Okay, why is that?
Just because I seem to be using it very well, and I keep saying I'm going to find a property deal today, and then I do. And yeah, so I just believe it works.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that floating around us, and there's been previous guests that I've interviewed who have said the same sort of thing. You make your own way in this world in relation to visualizing what it is and manifesting it into existence. Yeah. So
I think the real key to it is actually believing it. And then once you can believe, then you can achieve it. Like manifesting stuff and then telling yourself in your head that it's not going to happen doesn't seem to work. Like it's all about actually believing that you've done it.
Beautiful. And what would you say would be the fundamental steps that someone needs to take in order to transition from not being able to believe it to believing it?
I have no idea. I just really know myself. I don't know how everyone else works. So I'm not sure how you can tell someone that they can believe it.
What steps did you take to get your conviction and your belief up?
For me, I'm fairly logical, so I just sort of thought of ways which I could make it happen. See, I want a Dodge Challenger Hellcat at the moment, and then I just thought if I'm allowed to spend 10% of my profit on deals, I just have to make $1.5 million. And then I thought about how I can make that, and then I just made it sort of real in the way, and I went and test drove BMWs and stuff like that to make it real.
Reverse engineering it to a degree.
Yeah, like that. And then I've got a process which I know how to do, which will get me there. So I've got no reason to not believe it.
Jack, look, I know you've got a lot on at the moment, buddy. I'm going to thank you so much for your time this evening, and look forward to sharing your story with all our listeners out there. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with?
That's awesome, because I've been looking at my phone battery and it's been vibrating at me the whole time. So I haven't really got anything to leave with you guys, just the fact that if you want to do something, then the only one who's stopping you from doing it is yourself. You should just go out and do it.
Beautiful. I love it, Jack. And this is one of the things I really appreciate about the time that I had with you in Fiji is you are just real and down to earth and no bullshit.
Thanks. Fiji was awesome.
It was, mate. It was. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks very much for your time, though, Jack. Have a wonderful week, buddy.
Thanks, mate. Have a good one.
Yeah.
See ya.
This has been a production by Living the Bucket List. I'm Matthew Carpenter. For more about how you can live your bucket list, hit subscribe and go to www.livingthebucketlist.me.